The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in soft hues of orange and pink. For Maria, the fading lights signaled the start of yet another long night. Her small apartment was quiet, save for the occasional cries of her 2-month-old daughter, Amara. Maria had been alone since the day she brought Amara home. Her mother had passed years ago, her siblings lived in distant cities, and her partner had walked away when the pregnancy became real. Friends, once abundant, had disappeared, too, leaving her to face the immense challenge of motherhood entirely on her own. She looked at the clock, 7:45 p.m. It was time for Amara's evening feeding. Maria cradled her baby in her arms, singing a soft lullaby while warming a bottle. The baby's tiny fingers wrapped around Maria's thumb, grounding her in a way nothing else could. As exhausted as she was, she marveled at how something so small could carry so much weight in her heart. The days blurred together in a whirlwind of diapers, feeding, and restless nights. Maria quickly learned that there was no one to rely on but herself. She had no one to call when she was too tired to function, no one to hold Amara when she needed a moment to breathe. The isolation was suffocating, but she refused to let it break her. The nights were the hardest. Amara was colicky, crying for hours without relief. Maria would pace the small living room, bouncing her daughter gently, tears streaming silently down her own cheeks. Exhaustion gnawed at her constantly, but she refused to let it consume her. "This is for you," she whispered to Amara one night, her voice shaky. "I'll do whatever it takes for you." Maria had never imagined motherhood would be this lonely. Before Amara's birth, she had dreamed of shared laughter, of family members visiting and cooing over her newborn. She had imagined the support of loved ones, warm meals prepared for her, and a shoulder to lean on when the weight became too heavy. Instead, she found herself eating cold leftovers while holding Amara, barely able to keep her eyes open. Her days followed a relentless cycle. Wake up, feed Amara, change her, rock her back to sleep. Try to shower, eat something, clean the apartment in hurried bursts while Amara napped. By the time evening rolled around, she was already bracing herself for another sleepless night. One evening, as she prepared for another long stretch, Maria found herself staring at the reflection in the mirror. Her eyes were hollow with exhaustion, dark circles framing them like bruises. She barely recognized herself. Who was this woman, drowning in the endless demands of motherhood? She was more than just a mother, wasn't she? She had once been full of dreams, energy, and passion. Now, all she had was survival. But then she turned and saw Amara, bundled in her crib, sleeping peacefully for the first time in what felt like weeks. And in that moment, everything shifted. Yes, she was exhausted. Yes, she was alone. But she was also the reason that the little girl was safe, warm, and loved. That was enough. She reminded herself to take things one step at a time. She learned to celebrate the small victories. The first time Amara smiled at her, the first time she slept for more than 3 hours in a row, the first time Maria was able to eat a full meal while Amara napped, these moments became her lifeline. As months passed, Maria found ways to navigate her solitude. She discovered an online group for single mothers, a place where she could share her struggles without judgment. She began taking small walks with Amara, enjoying the fresh air and the rare smiles of passing strangers. Slowly, she found a rhythm. One afternoon, as she sat in the park watching Amara kick her tiny feet in the stroller, an older woman nearby smiled at her. "First time mother?" she asked kindly. Maria nodded. "It's been tough," she admitted hesitantly. The woman chuckled knowingly. "It always is. But you're doing great. I can see it in how she looks at you." Maria glanced down at her daughter, who gazed up at her with wide, trusting eyes. In that moment, the exhaustion didn't seem so overwhelming. Maybe, just maybe, she was doing okay. Over time, Maria's resilience became her superpower. She found ways to build a community, joining a local mothers group, reaching out to neighbors, and leaning on online support. She still had hard days, but she no longer felt entirely alone. Motherhood alone wasn't easy, but it shaped Maria into someone stronger, braver, and more resourceful than she ever thought possible. Though her journey was solitary, her love for Amara became the light that guided her through the darkest of nights. This is the end of this tale and the beginning of another beautiful tale. Thank you, viewers. Please kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel for more beautiful tales.